Lord Krishna. Vismaya, wonder. Me, my, Mahan, great. Rajan, O king. Rishami, I am enjoying. Cha, also. Punah, punah, repeatedly. So here's the translation by Srila Prabhupada. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. So please repeat the translation, somebody.
O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with the wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again.
Right. Purport by His Divine Grace. It appears that Sanjaya also, by the grace of Vyasa, could see the universal form Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only. Yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna. And Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord and is considered to be a powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasa disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here's the wonderful culmination of the Gita, and I think in the past 1 or 2 days, it has been spoken about the last 5 verses that Sanjaya spoke. So if we see, the Gita is already concluded when Krishna asked Arjuna, did you hear properly? Did you hear from me? Did you understand? If I go back here, it says, and I'll share the screen so we can all see that. So Krishna asked, O son of Pratha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusion now dispelled? And in reply, Arjuna says, Nashto moha smritir ladva tvat prasadad mayachita sitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. He said that, yes, now I heard it properly. My illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. And now I'm firm and free from doubt, prepared to act according to instructions. So this is the factual end of the Gita, but then the last 5 verses are spoken by Sanjaya. And now if we recall, this is the dialogue that actually started between Sanjaya, who is the personal secretary, the charioteer, and advisor of King Dhritarashtra. And Sanjaya is the disciple of Vyasadeva, who is considered as the literary incarnation of Krishna by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. And Sanjaya is a very, very amazing personality. I'm very happy that I'm able to speak about Sanjaya today. Thank you, Prabhuji, for allowing me to do this particular session. And why is Sanjaya's personality so interesting? Because when Krishna and Arjuna are speaking, Krishna's explanations to Arjuna's doubts and Arjuna's weaknesses are something that we understand. Yes, this is a divine dialogue. It has been spoken to resolve Arjuna's difficulties, miseries. But through Sanjaya, we connect with the Gita more. That's what maybe my personal understanding. But the reason is that we can connect with the personality of Sanjaya, being a little bit outsider, being somebody who is hearing the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, and then being benefited by being affected, by being transformed by their dialogue, by listening to their dialogue, by seeing them by seeing them within his mind, and then speaking about them later on again. So three things: he first hears, he sees them, and then he speaks about them and about their dialogue to Dhritarashtra. So in that sense, we connect with Sanjaya because we are also in that position. We are students of the Gita, and we come to the Gita for mostly understanding the spiritual miseries. We all understand the spiritual miseries of life, and we seek Gita's guidance to see if we can resolve our problems, the solutions to our lives, and find some happiness. And then as the Gita, as we study the Gita, as we become students of the Gita, we more and more realize, we more and more rejoice, and we more and more connect with the Lord. And at the end, we have a very amazing transformation of heart. So in that way, Sanjaya is a personality with whom we can connect really well, as an outsider. And that's why these 5 verses are very, very crucial for us to understand exactly what happened to Sanjaya and why it happened. And then, because we connect with Sanjaya, we can also connect with the effects of the Gita's conversation upon Sanjaya. And then we can apply those to us and see where we stand in the study of the Gita. So that's why this study of the last 5 verses in that are spoken by Sanjaya is very, very important. So if we see quickly like a review, I don't have a PowerPoint or anything like that, but basically in the 74th verse, let me just share the screen. Yeah. So in this, if we go to this, in the 74th verse, just a little recap, Sanjay says that this, first of all, he says that this Adbhut Samvad, right? He says this is a wonderful conversation. And I have heard it. I have, he has used the word Ashrausham. I have heard it. And this Adbhut, wonderful Samvad, wonderful dialogue. And what has done that to me is that Roma Harshanam, which means it is so wonderful. I am in ecstasy when I heard the entire dialogue. And this dialogue is not ordinary, it's Adbhutam. It is also pious, it is very spiritual dialogue. And all I have feeling right now is that my hair is standing on my end. So I'm extremely in ecstasy, I'm amazed, I'm wonderstruck. So that is one thing he says. And then he says that this has happened, and he's so excited. He says that Sakshat Kathaya Swayam Krishna, Yogeshwara Krishna. So he says, like Krishna is standing right there, and I was right there. I was, even though I was not physically present, but I was hearing them, I was looking at them. And Sakshat Krishna, when he was speaking, I heard it. And I heard it because Vyasadev, my Guru Maharaj's prasad, my Guru Maharaj's mercy. And then he says in the next one, he says, I am remembering that dialogue again and again, recalling. And he says, Adbhutam, Imam Adbhutam Samad. And it is punya, it is a holy dialogue. And all that is happening to me is again and again, I am thrilled at every moment. So this is the effect of the Gita's hearing of the Gita upon Sanjaya, that he is rejoicing, he is thrilled, he's extremely excited. And again, he is recalling all the wonderful dialogue that is happening. And in today's verse that we are going to consider, in the 77th verse, it again uses the same word, samsmritya, samsmritya. And now this time he says, ati adbhutam rupam. He says, extremely wonderful form of Lord Hari. I'm remembering, I'm recalling. So he says, I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna. And again, the same effect, that I am struck with wonder, Rishami, and again, puna puna, I'm rejoicing again and again. So if you can see, when sometimes when we are, when we find something amazing that we have never heard, never learned, for the first time we are learning, and it is something sublime, and we are so excited, we are so rejoicing in our hearts that we want to tell it to another person. And sometimes we repeat the same sentences again and again because of the ecstasy, because of the thrill. that we have. So we say puna puna, we repeat sometimes, we say, oh, it was so wonderful, so amazing, I am so thrilled, all those kinds of things. And that's what exactly we see here happening to Sanjaya. He says, puna puna, muhur muhur, rishrami, and this ati adbhutam, it's amazing. So all these wonderful words that are being used indicate that he's extremely excited, he's thrilled, he's amazed, and he's just joyful. So now, if you can see, last time, the last verse, we saw that he was emphasizing on the hearing part, that he heard the dialogue. He heard the dialogue very carefully. And this time he's saying, I am remembering the rupa, the form of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport mentions that it is the universal form of Krishna that was seen by very few. So if you remember the 10th chapter, where Krishna exhibited the universal form, Vishwarupa, to Arjuna. And Arjuna was able to see it because Krishna offered him the very divine eyes, divine vision, to be able to see the universal form. And it is mentioned that a very few other people who were present in the battlefield were also able to see that particular form, and Vyasadeva was one of them. And by Vyasadev's prasad, as Sanjaya is sitting in Indraprastha, which is much, much far away from Kurukshetra, Sanjaya is able to see the whole universal form, and he is describing it to Dhritarashtra. So one understanding is that this wonderful form of Krishna that is being referred to here by Sanjaya is the universal form. But our acharyas have also explained that it is not just the universal form that he was wonderstruck about, but Sanjaya was very much rejoicing the form of Lord Krishna that he saw, two-handed form, the Shyamasundar form. And he's more wonderstruck by that two-handed form, and he's rejoicing and recalling and remembering that two-handed Shyamasundar form, because that is the original form that Krishna went back to after showing the universal form. And as devotees, we also are more attracted to the two-handed Shyamasundar form, to which we can connect and offer our devotion to. So universal form, as we saw, it was temporary, and it was a manifestation. But Krishna, as in his original form, he went back to his two-handed Shyamasundar form, and that is the form that Sanjaya is also recalling more. And he's wonderstruck with wonder, and he's rejoicing again and again. So now, this is the contemplation that that Sanjaya is doing about the words and about the form. So he's remembering the words of Krishna, he's remembering the form of Krishna, and that's how he's having the ecstatic feelings. Now, Krishna spoke to Arjuna, and we all know Arjuna's position at the beginning of the Gita, right? The first and the second chapter describe his condition. It was miserable condition, where he mentioned at the end that I am confused about my duty, karpanya dosha upadasvabhavaha, and I have lost all composure. My body is trembling, my weapons are falling down, my Gandhi bow is falling down, and my mind is reeling. I'm not feeling, in other words, I'm not feeling well. So he sits down, he gives up his bow and arrow, and he is completely confused, and he is very miserable as to what to do. So this is the weak condition that he's accepting, that I'm feeling extremely weak, miserly weakness. And at the end, if you see, just now as we spoke in the 73rd verse, he says that now I am completely ready for my nashtamoha smritir labdva. My illusion is gone, my confusion is gone, and I'm all firm, I'm determined, and I'm free from doubts, and I'm ready to 100% do instruction. So as you can see, when Krishna spoke to Arjuna, Arjuna's transformation has happened right there on the battlefield. And when Sanjaya hears the same message and he repeats it to Dhritarashtra, we find that Dhritarashtra's heart is not transformed. Right. So one important lesson from this this episode is that Sanjaya he's tried his best to inform his master the same exact verbatim dialogue that happened, and yet he did not get the result of convincing Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra's initial question was, "What is happening on the battlefield about my kids, my children, and Pandu's children?" And the entire dialogue, there was no transformation of Dhritarashtra that happened. So in from Sanjaya's perspective, he was doing his duty very properly, but he was doing it in a detached way. He did not hanker for the result to convince the King Dhritarashtra. But at the same time, while he was doing his duty, his own heart was transformed. His own enlightenment had taken place. So this is something we can, and also seeing the form when he saw Krishna in that form, in different forms on the battlefield, seeing Krishna and hearing from Krishna, both these two functions, they transformed Sanjaya's heart. They didn't transform Dhritarashtra's heart, but they did transform Sanjaya's heart. And this is something we can learn from his example, that we can also, as students of the Gita, we learn our prescribed duties, and then we do them, understanding that doing prescribed duties will take us to the liberation. But while doing so, we can further develop our love for the Lord. And it is not just doing the duties, doing the karma yoga, prescribed duties, for a higher benefit that we will be doing. The Gita transforms us in the same way, by taking us towards bhakti, towards devotional service. And we are also ready to begin the path of surrender. So this transformation can happen while we are doing our prescribed duties. That's exactly happened with Sanjaya. That's what that is the whole point that's it being mentioned here, that doing prescribed duties is one thing, but then developing our devotion and love for the Lord inside our hearts is an internal process, is another thing. And even if we take the example of Sanjaya, as he learned, is he heard the Gita and then he repeated the Gita to Dhritarashtra, his benefit is obvious. So when we, as students of the Gita, when we learn the different lessons that we learn from the Lord's explanations, and then sometimes we share those with our loved ones, with our family, with our friends, with other devotees, and we should do them just as in a detached way as Sanjaya did. Like we can share, but we do not hanker for transforming another person. That's not necessarily in our control. That may or may not happen right at that moment or in that period of time when we are with that person. Nonetheless, we do our part. We do our part. But in that process, what happens is that our heart gets transformed. Our heart gets more and more attached to the Lord, to the form of the Lord, to the words of the Lord, the verses of the Gita, to the sweet poems of the Gita. So it does not matter whether we really make another person a devotee or not. That's not our objective. That's not our agenda. Our agenda is that if we understand a little bit from the Gita, and if we find it useful in our lives, and if it works in our lives, then we are very much excited to share it with others, saying that, oh, this worked for me. This really solved my problem. So would you like to know what it is? And then we share. But then we should leave it right there and not hanker upon changing another person, because that's not in our control, because that person has its own journey. When he will change the heart or she will change the heart is between him or her and Krishna. But what should happen in the meantime, in that whole process, is that we study the Gita more seriously. We go deeper into the lessons, because we have to share those lessons. So in that process, we do experience the same ecstasy, or we should um, experience the same ecstasy that Sanjaya has experienced. So that is something we can definitely learn from this Sanjaya's example and these couple of verses. Now, there may be a couple of other points. The other point is that just see how what all things have happened in that period of time of 700 verses being spoken by Krishna to Arjuna, and Sanjaya being able to watch and hear them, is that he has first of all heard very carefully, then he has repeated the same verses or the same dialogue to his master Dhritarashtra, and while repeating he has understood the meaning, and while he understands the meaning he has also memorized it, because in these verses he's saying, I'm recalling it again and again, puna puna rishami, and he's saying uh, samsmrutya smamsrutya, right? The word samsmrutya is remembering. So he is remembering, and that means he's memorizing, and then he's contemplating in the future on those verses. Just at the end of the Gita, he's still contemplating. He's saying samsrutya samsrutya. I am enjoying. So in that process, he's feeling the ecstasy, and his heart is transforming. So there are so many things. He's hearing, he's repeating, he's memorizing, he's still he's trying to understand and realize the real meaning of it, and then he is contemplating, and then he is feeling the ecstasy, right? So in this way, for us also, the same thing can happen. As we study the Gita, we should take inspiration from Sanjaya, because we should also be able to not just mechanically read, but also be able to realize and understand and apply it to our lives, and find how that solution is working in our lives, and so that we can contemplate upon it. And that's how we will contemplate not only on the words of the Lord, but also on the form of the Lord. The form of the Lord, which is very wonderfully standing in the midst of the battlefield on the chariot of Lord, on the chariot of Arjuna. That form we will remember, and that form will bring us so much ecstasy, because Lord Krishna is our guide, he's our father, he's our teacher, and we are taking lessons from him while we are reading the Gita. So his form will naturally be incorporated in our hearts, and this should happen just as it happened with Sanjaya. So in that process, what will happen is that whenever we have troubles, whenever we are facing the difficulties in our lives, the words of the Lord and the form of the Lord will write surface on our hearts. And then in that way, the Lord, his teachings, his words, and his personal form will always be with us. We will never be bereft of those things, just like Sanjaya. So that's our goal, that's our purpose, and we should study the Gita in that mood and in that depth, just like Sanjaya did. And in this way, if you see, this enlightenment is not just the comprehension, right? It's not just that Sanjaya has just heard and repeated. It's not to that extent, because a lot of times, if we see, if you take the example of a newsreader, like the newsreader is reading the news, so they memorize, or they look at it and they repeat it to the audience. But we have hardly seen any time that the newsreader starts crying because the news is so heartbreaking. We have never seen the newsreader being excited because of some news that they're reading. Similarly, sometimes there are, uh, like uh, people who are actually like, sometimes the weather channel, the people are standing right there on that particular spot, and they are giving a live commentary. So same thing, like they are repeating mostly mechanically because of their job or because of their work, but they're never involved emotionally in that. So Sanjaya's case is very different. It is not just the mechanical hearing because he was the secretary of this king and this king made him sit down and look at this because of this magical power that he was got, and he's not just doing it for the sake of it. By hearing and while doing his duty, he is crying in his heart because of the ecstasy that comes by listening to the dialogue and by hearing and seeing, especially seeing the Lord. And so in that way, um the spiritual knowledge, it's not just for mere repetition. Whosoever is speaking, whosoever is hearing and asking questions, whosoever is the audience, which is direct, or whosoever is the indirect audience, everybody is benefited. And in the Bhagavatam, there is a verse, I can't recall, but I remember that verse. It says that this Bhagavatam katha will benefit the whole set of people, including the speaker, including the questioner, who is Maharaj Parikshit, including the audience, who are the sages who have gathered there, including the sages who gathered with Shaunaka Rishi in another place, and then including the indirect listeners like us. Now, you need to hold on one second, Ruji. I think there's somebody who knocked on my door, and I need to open the door. 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to open the door for my son. Yeah, so my point was that the Bhagavatam mentions that it benefits everybody. And in the same way, we saw like there was so many, there was a network of people who connected to Bhagavatam recitation, not just Vyasadeva and Shukadev Goswami, but Sutta Goswami, Saunaka Rishi, all the other sages. And there were dialogues within dialogues, there were a network of dialogues. And everybody was equally benefited, everybody was equally transformed and feeling ecstasy. So this is the benefit of the Gita also for us. Not just that Sanjaya is transformed, but something that hundreds and thousands of generations that will come later on, and they will hear Sanjaya's reactions and Sanjaya's realizations, and will benefit from that. So this is the beautiful importance of these couple of verses that spoken by Sanjaya. And I also remember the same thing, like when Mahabharata was written, Vyasadeva, he requested Lord Ganesha that you write down, but only after you realize. When I speak, you hear, when you realize, and then you write down. And Lord Ganesha agreed because he was competent enough to do that. And that's how. So same thing with Sanjaya here. Like he has not only understood, not only heard, but he has understood. And then he has repeated to King Dhritarashtra. And that's why at the end he's saying, Rishyami cha puna puna. Otherwise, how would that happen, right? How it is possible. So in that way, this is a beautiful, not just a delivery of the message, but a great discovery, right? And that's how we should also be going on that path. Because for us, this is the inspiration. Let's just see. So we saw that Sanjay has heard and Sanjay has seen. And I mean, even at the end, he's saying Again, a Samsmritya, I am Muhur Muhur Rishyami. Why? Because I have Samsmritya, the Punya Sammad, the Adbhut Sammad. And then he says, Samsmritya Ati Adbhutam Rupam. I have seen the Rupa, which is Ati Adbhuta, which is great. And then I'm Vismaya. Again and again, I'm Rishyami. Again, and I'm rejoicing. So when we take this particular lesson from Sanjaya, we apply it in our daily sadhana, like when we are reading, when we are chanting especially, it can empower us because our chanting, our sadhana can be very um, deeply sincere. And if that is deeply sincere, then we will be able to feel the ecstasy like Sanjay. We'll be able to, as I mentioned before, recall the form of the Lord, connect with the personal form of the Lord, offer our devotional feelings to the personal form of the Lord. All this will be possible because we will be taking that inspiration from Sanjay and will be sincerely deepening our sadhana. So this is my humble understanding here. And it's just a great ending. It's not just um, the dialogue has ended, but it's kind of a cycling back, like with the first question and the last answer. That's a beautiful ending of the Gita. And Sanjaya being a very, very inspiring personality for us to connect with him and connect with his journey of listening and then realizing of Krishna's dialogue. It really brings a lot of personal connection as students of the Gita in this particular set of verses. And I would like to end here by offering my humble obeisances to this personality of Sanjaya. He's a great associate of the Lord in the Gita's presentation, great associate of Lord of Vyasadeva, a disciple of Vyasadeva, and a very important personality. For even he continued to be with King Dhritarashtra even after the war was over, and he was constant companion of his king until the end. So this is a very important personality in Mahabharata and a big personality even in the Bhagavad Gita. And so we offer our humble obeisances to this personality of Sanjaya. And I pray that this example of Sanjaya is very, very inspiring for all of us. It takes us to a step which is not just mechanical, but more deepening of our understanding of our realizations, and brings us the joy, the ecstasy, and the devotional mood in our bhakti. So this is my humble prayer for all of us here who have all of you here who have really done this journey of listening to the Gita every evening for all these years, and especially all glories to Srimeshwar Prabhu for bringing us on this journey and ending it here in a very successful way, which will be tomorrow, the last verse. So I seek the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and blessings of all our acharyas for all of us as students of the Gita. And I pray that we continue this study in different ways in the future. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So please share your thoughts and questions or comments. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Hare Krishna Mataji, wonderful
Thank you.
class. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just meditating on that when you are saying he was feeling so ecstatic. So just relating with that, sometimes when we meet all the devotees and we dance, chant, or
we eat prasadam together. And that also makes us so much happy inside, right? Ecstatic. So
Yes.
just little things, right? Just meeting the devotees of Krishna, we are feeling that much. So Sanjay watching actual Krishna, right, in that form, and listening the words through his mouth. So how much means potency it would
Yes.
have been, right?
Mhm.
So it's really amazing, Mataji. Like
Yeah.
we are just part and parcel, and very minutely we get that, but still we feel in our heart. So we can understand why he is using so many words continuously, puna, puna, samskrutya, samskrutya, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's really means it gives nectar, releases the nectar of in our heart. We feel that inside.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like a test, like, if for many years, if we study and nothing happens, you're not feeling ecstatic, then there's something wrong.
Terrible, Mataji.
Well, thank you for comment.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. Thank
Hare
you so much. Yeah, definitely. Spending time is a live. Spending time means giving life. So definitely, spending time in Krishna consciousness is a really amazing opportunity. So with this association, I like one point you mentioned, Mataji. So first, implement Krishna consciousness. You, maybe personally you, maybe your father, mother, or your parents or kids, they follow or not, we don't know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
first implement in you,
Mhm.
see change in you. By seeing you, automatically other person will realize and inspire. So that is a very long practice. Definitely everyone, I need to do so. I don't know maybe.
All of us
So,
have to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And giving the opportunity. So we celebrated Hanuman Jayanti with our Krishna devotees blessings. So at our native place, nearly 250 devotees associated there. So that is one blessing and one achievement. What I reached, what I achieved so far personally, by the
Mhm.
great association of people getting inspired day by day, moment to moment, and keep on engaging the possible time in the divine service, in divine service. So, and also we're planning to bring Panchagavya Deepas to USA from our Gosala. So that is another activity I'm planning to do. So looking for all our devotees' blessings. So I
Yes.
would like to add these 2 points, Mataji. That's it.
Yeah, wonderful. All your work with the cows, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's very, very inspiring to hear the updates always.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Class nicely narrated, nicely explained the mood of Sanjaya. So how we should take it in the darshan of Bhagavad Gita and the view of Bhagavad Gita, what is applicable to us and how we should see all this and apply it in our life. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dear devotees, anything, any comments or any other questions, any concerns, reflections? Please go ahead. So we are getting closer. Tomorrow is the last verse.
Yes.
So we were going through this entire journey. It was quite amazing. Every day,
Yes.
all
Yes.
coming together.
Absolutely. And there have been, I'm sure there are some very, very regular devotees on this Sangha. Like
Yes,
they were there every day, all these 700 days. So it's amazing.
I know that Sachimata is always remember this. Sachimata was present when we were about to start this, and Sachimata was mentioning that yes, we should start on the Srila Prabhupada's appearance day.
Mm.
It started on that day. I think definitely Srila Prabhupada's mercy is definitely there. So
Yes, we
all
have
this,
these blessings to come, that we have come to this conclusion is definitely a blessing, our acharyas. And all goes to the devotees who have been regularly listening all these years. So it's amazing achievement. And that's why I pray that we continue somehow our study circle like this online and do more.
Yeah, it was mentioned that systematic study of Bhagavad Gita, so that we go and take each verse and then go deep and understand the meaning and how we can apply that in life. The essence of each and every verse.
Yeah.
It was quite detailed. It was quite systematic. Yes, more than what we expected. We thought.
Yes.
Yeah, Amardana Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji, for taking the class. It was very nice. I wanted to share a few things on the topic of sharing Krishna consciousness, and also this point what you spoke about transformation. So, my Guru Maharaj, Radhana Swami, excuse me, when we do any seva for Krishna consciousness, it should always be done in a mood of humility for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. Of course, initially, it may give us pleasure. So someone may like cooking and he or she may engage in cooking, and that gives him some kind of a joy, or doing kirtan or whatever it may be. But the goal has to remain to go with the motive of pleasing Guru and Krishna. And as long as that is the understanding and the focus, initially it may give us pleasure, but slowly it would bring us to the state where we are doing it. And that is the seva. The other thing what Maharaj says is, if any seva that we do, and if it has to be, if we tell others, then whatever is the credit that gets negated, because it runs the risk that I am the doer. It may give us that kind of a feeling that I'm the doer. And finally, this thing about transformation. The transformation, even Krishna Ramanand Prabhu often repeats it, information is meant to bring about transformation. So how this transformation comes about is by repetition and continual engagement. Whatever be our situation, whatever be the state of mind, whatever be the anartha, whatever, just if you say I'm attending BJ class, attend it no matter what happens. You may have other things, you may be multitasking, but attend. And gradually we can see that transformation take place. Hare Krishna, and of course, thanks so much to Ardiyat Simeshwar Prabhu for putting this together. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanapram. All Guru Sri Prabhupada, all glories to you.
Jai Prabhupada.
Mataji, very nice class. And just for the sharing, like you mentioned that we see the one learning, the Sanjay here saw the everything and remembering again and again. But see the balance. He was saying that whatever happened by Guru's mercy.
Yeah.
So this is the underline, Sanjay reminding us the should not have popped up or should not become proud. Oh, because of my bhakti is happening. He give the whole credit to his guru. Say that because of my guru, I could see and I remembering again and again. I am, that he's saying that I'm enjoying that part. So this is the teaching from the Sanjay for us. Like whatever with bhakti we do, small or big, should remember always guru in the top.
Yeah, that's true. And in one sense, Sanjay is all he's doing is just to please his Guru Maharaj with the instructions. Like Guru Maharaj told him to go and listen and repeat. So he's doing it sincerely. It's all for the pleasure of Vyasadeva. So in that sense, yeah, that connects with your point. Thank you. So this is amazing. Very nice. Thank you so much. And Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Oh, Mataji,
No, one few
Ma-
announcements. Mataji.
Yeah, actually,
Mr. Prabhu, before
I have a 8 o'clock another Sunday school meeting, so I'm gonna
Oh,
drop.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Guruji.
No problem.
Yeah, please go ahead with your announcements. I'll just take
Go
you.
ahead, Pradhan Prabhu was trying to say something.
no. Mataji has to leave now. It was
Right.
I'll text her.
Yeah, sure, Guruji. Thank you. Hare
All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. So, so we'll be having this summary section by starting on Monday. As mentioned yesterday, please, pass these words to everyone so that everybody can join and get benefit, and a deep study of Bhagavad Gita. It's an amazing, it's a transcendental, it's really, get us into the deep realizations and understanding. So we may see that, okay, this is maybe a little tough. No, it's not, but all we need is a little keen attention. It really can penetrate through our heart, our chitta. So this is the way our chitta becomes so purified, understanding this transcendental knowledge. That's what is exactly, happened to Arjuna as well. What was Arjuna in the beginning and what was in the last, after 45 minutes of Krishna's, spoke this to Arjuna. Nashta moha smrdur labdha. It's a great realization, great understanding of that. Nashta moha, Arjuna uses this word, nashta moha. My illusions are gone. I regained my memory, smrti. I regained my smrti, the remembrance of what is supposed to do. This is all our situation. And once we finish this Bhagavad Gita, we should also, release, or our illusion should have or must have gone, when we finish the Bhagavad Gita. Then we should be firm on that. What is really needed in my life? What gives bliss, happiness, eternity in my life? What gives steadiness in my life? So many things. So this way that we can conclude. So for that, and that we are taking this chapter by chapter. So everybody please join, and we'll also send out the details. So tomorrow is the last verse. It's very wonderful verse. Sanjaya's conclusion that Atra Yogeshwara Krishna Atra Partho Dharudara Tatra Sri Vijay Bhodar Dhruvo Nadur Madhurmama. It's a beautiful verse. Please join. And so we'll conclude with that. The Sanjaya's great realization. Wherever there is Arjuna and Krishna, that's what is the most important. So many acharyas mention that the Arjuna that we all have to become an Arjuna. Should completely depend upon Krishna. So it's a great topic of this Bhagavad Gita gives us. So everybody please join tomorrow as well. And starting, and also we will have Friday as well. There'll be a topic on Friday, the Bhagavad Gita. So also this is continuous. It's never ending. Actually, our study and realization, understanding, and connecting with the Supreme Lord in the morning and evening. And then this is going to be continued. And also after this Bhagavad Gita, so we'll be going Ishopanishad or Nectar of Devotion, either of, and we'll see that what devotees wanted. Accordingly, we will select that topic. So this is a great way to progress in our spiritual path. So please join and encourage others, inspire others, bring and join, so that this way everybody can have a proper understanding about all this, that what we see. So that's where we have to situate. And that's the way we will also situate in our constitutional position. Okay, thank you so much. Anything else anybody would like to add?
Guruji, can you explain me I know Archana is a part of the Nauda Bhakti, but can you explain me exactly what we do in Archana? What does it mean, Archana? How do you apply in our practice, Archana?
Archana means offering, Mataji. Like just for an example, you get flowers, right? You get fruits, you get flowers, so you bring that and offer to the Lord. That means Archana means offering, right? That means not mine. This is
yours.
And this is I'm bringing to you, so that please take this, please enjoy this, not mine. So
Okay.
then that's called flowers, fruits, anything that which we bring and offer to Krishna, that's called archana.
Aye.
In many temples, they have these concepts called archana.
They do some kind of vidhi. When you go to the temple, they do archana vidhi.
Yeah. So that archana vidhi means, when you bring fruits or anything that, any kind of other vegetables or maybe fruits or any valuables, anything that you bring to the temple, and then basically the pujari, the priest, take that and take a sankalpa. That means this is so and so person is offering this to you, Lord. Be, mercy upon them. Be shower mercy upon them. So this is a vidhi in the temple, but it's not that something to get from the Lord that we should offer. That is, in the mode of ignorance or mode of passion. But there is archanam in the mode of goodness or the pure goodness. Is that sincerely we offer to Krishna everything, that nothing that we desire in return for that our offering. That's a real offering. That's a real archana.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I will take 1 minute, Prabhu. So, would like to show my Hanuman temple, the temple I'm managing. This time, sharing my screen for a minute. These are newborn calf. So this is one calf, and this is also second calf, newborn. We are planning to. Yeah, this is third one. So this is the fourth one from our Gosala. So.
Yes.
And this is all our empty place where all our cows eat grass. About 3 acres land is there. So this is a Hanuman Jayanti celebration. So
okay.
So
Where is this place?
This is our native place, Mataji, my native place, Rantachantala, Guntur district. So this is our temple, and we constructed about 9 years back with a mountain rock. The Hanuman we built from Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam with a mountain rock. We built this one. So a lot of people came. It's a very small village, but doing this service just.
Very nice.
By inspiration of our ISKCON Devotees Association. So yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for giving a minute to share these things. Yeah,
very good, very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, only for blessings. Thank you so much. Yeah,
wonderful. Okay, thank you. And first of all, thank you, all the devotees, very attentively. This means a lot. And this also pleases the Lord. That means your attentiveness, dedication, determination. It's not an ordinary. This is the one who is the most fortunate can have this wonderful, the Bhagavad Gita means like an Arjuna, that like association with the Lord, like we are hearing from the Lord directly. That means we are directly associating with the Lord. This is a great fortune. That's very nice. So thank you, first of all, to be part of every day without fail, and that's great. That's wonderful. Please continue to do so. It's helps, really purifies, really helps us to steady our mind, steady our all devotional activities, devotional services with more and more meaningful, more and more which pleases Krishna. Okay. Anything else anybody would like to add? Otherwise, let's conclude. Okay. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarupasya krapa sindhubhyev cha patidanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavvrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Guru Premanande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, everybody. Hari
Thank you,
Bol.
everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.